Hello, I'm Javier Harkeen, and this is Harking Back, a podcast about the pop culture of a lifetime. Whose life? Mine. I'm going back through every year I've been alive and finding out what was going on in that year. This week we're looking at 2009, last year of the noughties? Noughties? What do you call them? Everyone was talking about, hey, what are you going to call this decade when it comes out? I think the noughties is kind of what stuck, and I'm not a huge fan. It's the shittest of all of them, let's be honest. In 2009, I was 27, and I think one of the big things that happened for me that year was I got engaged. I asked Annie to marry me, and she said yes. I was doing a 30-hour improvathon. This isn't how I proposed, though, okay? I did not propose at a fucking improvathon. I was doing a 30-hour improvathon in Wellington, and I had an hour slot off. So 29-hour improvathon. And I walked past the jewelers in the city mall, and I saw a ring, and I thought, shit, that's the one. That's the ring. And that's my price range as well. And I said, hold. I looked at it, and I thought, oh my God, hold. Can you hold it for me for a little bit? Can you hold it for me for a day? Because I know it's going to be in Wellington for another day. And I just thought, I'll sleep on it. And then, because it's a big decision. And I left, and an hour later, I came back and bought the ring. And put it with my stuff, just amongst all these other bags, and I kept checking on that bag over and over again. Anyway, when I asked her, how did I ask her to marry me? I was going to take her out to a dinner at a restaurant called the Sign of the Takahe in Christchurch, which overlooks the city. It's got a lookout next to the restaurant, which overlooks the city. It's one of her favourite places. And so I sent her a bunch of flowers that morning to her work that said, I need you looking and feeling fabulous tonight. I'm going to take you out for dinner. And one of her friends said, oh my God, he's going to propose. Stop doing that. Ladies' friends, women's friends, girls' friends, don't do that. Because it's either I am going to propose and you're kind of ruining the surprise, or, just shitting on my parade. Or two, I'm not going to propose and you just fill your friends' heads with this. Stop it. I hear stories about this all the time through friends of friends and friends, and just don't do it. It never ends well. Just shut up. Anyway, so now she's probably primed. Anyway, the Sign of the Takahe restaurant is full, but just over the hill in Christchurch, there's a place called Littleton, and I find another nice restaurant. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to take her to this nice restaurant, and then we'll go early, and we'll race back over the hills and get to the lookout, and that's where I'll do it. So we go to dinner, and as we get out in Littleton, we're getting out of the car to walk to the restaurant. We see a bunch of our friends about to go watch a show at a theatre in Littleton, and they're all like, oh, hey guys, you're looking nice. What are you up to? Do you want to come for a drink with us? And Annie's like, maybe we should go for a drink with it. I'm like, no, fuck off. We're going to have a dinner. She was like, why are you being so abrupt? I was like, I just want dinner. Not with them. And I think one of them, I managed to because, we get together and have a little talk before I tell one of them, I've got something special planned, please leave. So we go to dinner. Dinner runs late, so we're going to miss the sunset. So as I'm just like, check please, let's go. And we get the check, and we jump in the car, and I'm driving like a maniac over these hills, and she's like, slow down, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, just want to catch the sunset. And we screech up to this lookout. I'm like, hey, what a beautiful night for a lookout. And she's like, you were acting really weird. Surely she must have known. She must have known, because her friend tipped her off. Anyway, we get to the lookout, and there are so many tourists at this lookout taking photos, because a bus has just pulled up. So we're just looking at them. And she's kind of done her thing after 5 minutes. We've looked, and she's like, okay, should we go now? I'm like, I want to keep looking for another 10, 15 minutes while all these tourists leave. They come up and go, isn't it beautiful? I'm like, yeah, it's gorgeous, fuck off. And finally, it's just the two of us there. And then, get down on one knee, I pop the question, and Annie does this thing where if she's got heightened emotion, she just laughs, right? If she's incredibly stressed, sometimes that could come out in laughter, or scared, it came from laughter, or any heightened emotion seems to come out in laughter. So I said, will you marry me? And she just started laughing her ass off. And I was like, that's not the answer I'm really looking for. But, she said yes, and yay, we got engaged, and we were very happy. Okay, let's look at what else is happening in 2009 besides my engagement. It was big for me. Bitcoin launches in 2009. I have, to this day, and it's been 15 years since it launched, I have no idea how this works. I've got a friend who's into it, who's tried to explain it. I've watched videos. I've got no idea about blockchain, and all I know is that they use it to buy drugs on the dark web. Something else I know nothing about the dark web. Like, do you need to... It feels like, in Stranger Things, the Upside Down. That's what the dark web feels like to me. I don't know how to connect to it. Like, do you turn your laptop upside down to get to it? I don't know. I know you need a special browser called Tor. I don't know. I think if you find yourself on the dark web, you need to ask yourself, what the fuck am I doing on the dark web? Anyway, I know nothing about this. I have a fear that one day someone will come up to me and tell me, like, the economy has collapsed. Please tell me, how much Bitcoin do you have? And I'll have to lie about losing a USB drive worth millions years ago. Also in 2009, Microsoft, they keep trying to launch these products. Microsoft launches the search engine Bing. Oh, Bing. Sometimes Bing pops up and you're like, oh, get out of here, Bing. Right? Bing is like, when you want to do something with a friend, you suggest you do something, but they can't go, but their friend heard you and says, oh, I can go. That's Bing. For like, when you want to search something and a browser pops up and Bing goes, hey, did you want to search for something? I'm like, yeah, but not with you. Like, is Bing good? Like, am I just being rough on Bing? Bing pops up and I'm like, Bing, what are you doing? Get back in your box. Let me know. Because it might be good. And there will be, the sad thing is, there will be some people at Microsoft killing themselves working to develop Bing. Like, they might be sitting there going, I can give you 2 pages of reasons why Bing is better than other search engines. And I'd be inclined to believe them because Google's just kind of ads now, isn't it? Like, every time you Google something, you just kind of forgot that years and years ago it used to be the most relevant search, and now the first page is just ads, and no one actually really searches past the first page. It's like Google's won. It's sad, like, because Google didn't used to be a verb. That's how you know what you've won. When your product has become the verb to do the thing your product does, you've won. Hey, Google it. Didn't used to be a verb. It used to be, hey, search for it on the internet. All right? I've got a friend who uses Wikipedia as a search engine, and at first, it was a total thirst trap. At first, I thought, that's a bit novel, but the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. Let me know in the Discord if you use other search engines, like if you actively try to not use Google, because, I know Google's won, but it would also be nice to think that there's a resistance going on. Oh my god, have I just talked myself around into using Bing? Anyway, what else? Talking about Google, Gmail officially comes out of beta in 2009. I got myself one. I got one of the early ones. I got my name as my Gmail, but with no numbers or anything. I often get sometimes, it's not perfect. I often sometimes get emails for clearly another Javier Hardking who lives in the States about gym memberships and stuff. I don't know. Maybe gyms are just looking at me and going like, you need to go to the gym. But I sometimes get emails that are clearly for this other Javier Hardking out there somewhere. Maybe we should connect. I use, Gmail every day. Annie hates it. She hates it. She uses Outlook. She hates Gmail in a way that I didn't realize there was that much discrepancy between 2 email client, experiences. She uses Outlook. And from the way she gets pissed off about Gmail, Outlook must just be first class of emails. Let me know if you use something different. I've never used Outlook. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm missing out. Have I been living in the dark ages? Also in 2009, Sully. This is the year that Sully lands in the Hudson. Remember Captain Chesley? Sullenberger lands US Airways Flight 1549 after leaving LaGuardia, getting struck by birds, and lands in the Hudson. They called it the Miracle on the Hudson. What I found out is he used to serve in the US Air Force and on an aircraft accident investigation board. How is that for foreshadowing? Annie loves this Miracle on the Hudson. Sometimes she's listened to the radio tower. What do you call it? recording of the transmissions between the control tower and Flight 1549 over and over again. She loves it. Her dad was a pilot, so she loves hearing this of like, negative, negative, you can do this, you can do that. Can you return to LaGuardia? No, negative. I'm going on the Hudson. She loves it. Sully retired after this to make a shitload of money doing after dinner speaking for the rest of his life. Honestly, I've been to some of those. I've been to some of my wife's conferences in the US, and some of these keynote speakers, they are swimming in money. And some of them will be like, I'm an astronaut, or I turned around an NFL team. Like, this is Captain Sully. How many of the other guys have their own movie? That guy's, don't worry, he's fine. But imagine being on a flight of his before he retired, knowing who he was, and be like, hi, it's Captain Sully here. If I tell you to do something, listen, I've got this, all right? Michael Jackson dies in 2009 of a prescription overdose. Is this, like, medication thing just really an American thing? Like, everyone seems to do so much medication in this US. Like, do they not look at the rest of the world and think, how do they do it? Like, without popping pills every 6 hours. King of pop and the king of popping pills, apparently. Michael Jackson dies. He was about to go on his massive world tour and he was about to have a movie out? No, the tour was called This Is It. I remember that because shortly after his death, I was at a comedy night and I said, Michael Jackson's died. He was about to do his concert. This is it. Should have called it That Was It. And the audience hated me so much. And I was like, did we all just forget the controversy of this guy? Is his music that good? I would say some tracks. Oh, isn't it crazy? Like sometimes. Anyway, let's not get into that discussion. His music slaps. And he did a lot of No, I'm not doing down that road. Okay, move on. Disney buys Marvel for $4.24 billion. This is 2009. The MCU has had like 3 movies out. Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. This is why you don't see any more smoking after 2009 in MCU movies. At the end of Incredible Hulk, General Ross is at a bar, knocking back drinks and smoking a cigar. No more cigars in the MCU after this. What was there? Daniel Craig, I did not know this, in 2009, Daniel Craig and Hugh Jackman were both in a Broadway play together called A Steady Rain. It's a very heavy play about 2 policemen who return a boy to a cannibalistic man who claims to be his uncle, and then the boy becomes his latest victim, and these 2 friends are thrown into an emotional crisis over what's happened. Daniel Craig and Hugh Jackman do this very serious, heavy, emotional play. And I would pay top dollar to see them do this play as James Bond and Wolverine. Come on, guys. I was about to say 10-year reunion, but we're already 6 years past that. Oh, my God. Feel old without telling me you're fucking old. TV shows that debut in 2009, Modern Family, RuPaul's Drag Race, Parks and Rec, Community, Glee. Remember when Glee came out? The marketing strategy for Glee was so aggressive, and it seemed to be everywhere. And then tragedy struck. Like, one of the cast members turned out to have like child pornography on his computer, and one overdosed on heroin, and then Glee just disappeared. See you later. Susan Boyle. This is also the year that Susan Boyle sings A Dream to Dream on Britain's Got Talent, and the world went crazy. Because they went, oh my God, people who aren't beautiful can have talent too. Let's look at gaming in 2009. In 2009, you get a lot of sequels from your usual suspects. You get Assassin's Creed 2, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Uncharted 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Resident Evil 5, which was the first Resident Evil game I played, which I was kind of enjoying until I was told I wasn't allowed to by real Resident Evil fans. I get it. It was more of an action game than survival horror, but I enjoyed it. Ignorance is bliss. However, we also thankfully start to see a lot of original games come out as well. And some do better than others, but the point is, it's great to see new ideas getting backing from studios. Games like Borderlands, Bayonetta, Infamous, Prototype, League of Legends. A little game called Minecraft is released, and it goes on to be the most successful video game in the world. It launches the careers of countless YouTubers, including Mr. Beast. It has made more money than physical mines, gold and or diamond, take your pick. So this Minecraft game is the best, most played video game in the world, most successful video game in the world. When anyone tells you that the graphics of a game are a bit shit, point them towards Minecraft, because Minecraft is just a bunch of cubes that got together. All right? A game that looked at a pixel and said, it's perfect. Now let's make it 3D. I've never played it. It looks very grindy to me. I don't know. I've never tried it. And I think maybe my biggest fear is if I try it and like it, it'll never get its blocky grippy hands off me. You know, it'll take me with both hands and go, you're mine now. And I don't want that to happen, because I know what I'm like. You know, like I know what happened with XCOM 2. God damn, I love that game. In gaming in 2009, the leading consoles are the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, which released about 4 years ago at that time and won't have another successor until another 4 years. So they're in the middle of their lifespans. What we are starting to see in 2009 is the rise of mobile games, or mobile, if you prefer that pronunciation. Smartphones are getting better specs and can run more complex programs, i.e. games, and studios are starting to realize, oh my god, everyone in the world is going to have a smartphone in their hand. And the first mobile game that takes the world by storm is Angry Birds, made by Rovio, a small Finnish studio. By the way, in Angry Birds, you shoot birds in a slingshot at these pigs that are hiding in structures, and you've got to try and smash the structures and kill the pigs. The studio made the enemies pigs because of the swine flu epidemic that went on in 2009 as well. Now, Angry Birds is simple yet incredibly addictive, and you can play it casually and just progress through the levels, you know, on your commute, or obsessively and try to go for the highest rank at each level. So it's a game that is easy to pick up, hard to master, caters to everyone. It ends up becoming a pop culture phenomenon to the point where it spawns a movie in 2016 and then another movie in 2009. 2 movies. When was the last time you saw 2 movies, like a movie and a sequel based on a video game? I can only think of Resident Evil and Mortal Kombat right now, and their sequels were dog shit. So not great. But the point is, it was everywhere. Not doing so well these days. But the point is, for about a decade, this game's merch was everywhere. Its images were everywhere. The marketing was everywhere. Everyone seemed to be playing it. I played it for a little bit. Not obsessively. I think I played the first one. I think I completed the first one, and then they brought out all these spin-offs, and then it was like, well, I don't know which ones to go for anymore. If you ask me, Game of the Year in 2009 is Batman Arkham Asylum by Rocksteady Studios. In a time where multiplayer games have been going gangbusters, this game is a breath of fresh air. It's a single-player game, and it's a Batman game, which is nothing new. They've been pumping them out for decades by now, but this one leans in to being Batman. It's got, like, it's a third-person action adventure game. Its aesthetic is gloomy and dank. It's in a claustrophobic setting. The attention to detail in this is superb. The character designs look real, like you could, you know, reach in there and touch them. And the place looks real. The combat system is new and very satisfying. And it's also dispersed in between moments of stealth that are actually fun. Like taking down a room full of bad guys with traps and gadgets. This game made you feel like Batman more than any game before. And it went on to do 2 sequels and then one other one that wasn't so good, like Arkham City, Arkham Dark Knight, and Arkham Origins. That's the one that people don't like, I don't think. I've played Arkham City. I've got Arkham Knight in my backlog of games that I need to play. They use the cast of the animated series for the game. Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Arlene Sorkin. Like, so it also inspires heavily from the work of Frank Miller and Grant Morrison from their runs on the Batman comics. It's a labor of love, and it shows. It's a game for Batman fans, made by people who, if they weren't Batman fans before they started doing this game, they're Batman fans by the end of it. It's the most Batman game you'll ever get. Batman. Let's look at songs. Songs that come out that are top in the charts. By the way, when I say come out, I'm going by the charts of a year. So maybe the song came out previously, but it's doing well in this year. So in the charts in 2009, songs like You Somebody by Kings of Leon, Single Ladies by Beyonce. I mean, who didn't love this song? Absolute banger. this got us watching music videos again. After a long time of not watching music videos, people would hear the song and then people would say, "Oh, have you watched the YouTube video?" And that's it's funny, like little Freudian slip there. I said the YouTube video, not the music video, just then in that last sentence, because that's how we watched it. Have you seen the music video? Straight to YouTube. Not MTV, not wait to watch it there, not to MTV.com even, YouTube. That's what you do these days. When you want to find a video, YouTube. And we were really cementing this in 2009. I know it seems trivial to say it now, like, where else would you go if you wanted to watch a video? But there was a time when you'd, like, if you wanted something from a certain company, you would maybe go to that company's site. Like maybe a trailer would release on, like, Universal Pictures or Paramount Pictures site, and you might go there. And now no one would even think about going there. You'd go to YouTube. This is 15 years ago, and we were just cementing that. Anyway, the music video was amazing. They danced, they worked their studio-toned asses off in this video, and it shows. Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus is doing very, very well here. I didn't get into this song then, but it holds a place in my heart, this song, because years later, I was doing an Edinburgh season run, and it's just been one of those ones where it was a slog. It was good, but it was a slog. And we finished, and we went to a after party in one of the venues that had been cleared out. So they had this big dance floor, and they turned it into a rave disco. Can I say that? I'm a millennial. They turned it into a rave disco, and I was there with my friends and the flatmates, and like everyone's on that high. We've all finished, and they played this song, and we all danced like stupid idiots to this. And every time I hear that song, I remember that feeling of all of us just going like, yes, we've done it, we've finished. It was a good Edinburgh. Anyway, the sincere soft rock boy song of this year is Fireflies by Owl City. Owl City. It sounds like a coffee house where they must tell you the stories of the coffee before you're allowed to drink it. Let's look at the top 5 of 2009. So, top 5 songs of 2009. At number 5, Love Story by Taylor Swift. At number 4, I've Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas. I'm kind of rattling through these ones because these songs just are kind of there in my mind. I've got nothing backing. I've got no emotional connection to these. At number 3, Just Dance by Lady Gaga. Number 2, Poker Face by Lady Gaga. And at number 1, Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas. So a good year for Gagas and Peas. I never found the Black Eyed Peas to be as fun as everyone else. Their songs they kind of just sound like what you'd expect to hear at like a corporate launch with managers awkwardly dancing, trying to ineffectually get employees hyped, like I've got a feeling, like someone in a suit rolling up their sleeves going like, yeah, this product's gonna fucking be awesome. Lady Gaga actually went up so much in my book when I realized that she writes her own songs. Like I think when she first appeared, with things like Poker Face and all that, I just thought another pop star, another generic pop star. And then later on, she's kind of been doing more, and especially that halftime show documentary about her doing the Super Bowl halftime show really shows that she was a musician and she really cares. I even saw a video, I don't know if it's true or not, on YouTube that in her like drama school days or music theatre, where she was studying, like other people didn't like her, and they actually created a group about her called You Will Never Be Famous. It sounds too contrived to be true, but I would love it to be true. I don't know why I'm losing so much touch with music over this time. But like losing touch with like what new songs are coming out, but not with gaming and movies. Is it because games and movies are a medium that require your attention way more than music? You know how some people can put on like a movie in the background and just potter about? I can't do that. I really can't. If I like the movie, I find myself just sitting down, getting sucked in, and suddenly I'm watching the whole thing. I can't be like moving from room to room, doing chores, like stuff, while a movie's playing, if I like it. If it's on, I'm sitting down and watching it. It's my Achilles heel. Let's look at movies that are happening in 2009. The Hangover, it comes out in 2009. It's a huge movie, which is an excellent movie to watch on a hangover. Up is the latest movie by Pixar, and Up, I've not seen a movie that couldn't follow itself. Like the opening 10-15 minutes of this movie, where you get to see the backstory of Carl, the old man, and his relationship with his wife, and how that ends. I mean, this is the benchmark over whether you have a heart or not. Like, if you don't cry watching this bit, you are stone. You are made of stone. It's really good. It's so good. It's and unfortunately the rest of the movie couldn't follow that. It couldn't hold a candle to this opening 10-15 minutes. So not being able to follow yourself, like it really... Like, I don't know if they could have put it in the middle of the movie. I don't know. Or it's just it should be a standalone short story movie, short film. Anyway, it's so good. It's so sad. And the rest of the movie is so average. In 2009, X-Men Origins Wolverine comes out. No. Big fat no. I mean, the biggest affront, apart from the fact they shot some of this in New Zealand. They shot some of this in New Zealand around Wanaka, and everyone was very excited that they were shooting the new X-Men movie near New Zealand. And then it came out, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know where they filmed that. No idea." One of the biggest affronts is that they wasted Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool as well. I mean, he would at least later correct that later. But the Gambit we got in this movie, I'm a huge Gambit fan, obviously because of my love of the X-Men, and also when I learned how to throw cards, I thought it was really cool because of Gambit. He throws cards. And when I found out that he was going to be in this movie, I was so excited. The actor who plays him is Taylor Kitsch. And I saw what they did with Gambit, and I was left very disappointed because, I don't know how many times I need to say this, Gambit is not telekinetic. This is one of my superhero pet peeves. I'm going to nerd out in a second. In the movie, they got him like waving his hands around, and the cards kind of like levitate around his hands, and he's like manipulating them with his mind. That's not how he does it. He needs to throw them. He actually, in the movie here, he throws one actual card, and it's one of the weakest techniques to throw one. I will die on this fucking hill. I'm so disappointed with Gambit. I'm going to move on before I burst a blood vein. The Blind Side comes out in 2009. Annie loves this movie because she loves anything with Sandra Bullock in it. Bruno comes out this year and offends everyone, and Sacha Baron Cohen is ecstatic that it offended everyone. Terminator Salvation and The Fighter come out this year. They both star Christian Bale. And Christian Bale, take no crap from your portrayal of John Connor in Terminator Salvation, and take a bow for your work in The Fighter. The Fighter, he is so good in this. It's not a movie about boxing. It's a movie about family and how much their love can hurt. But Christian Bale steals the show in this. Christian Bale is one of those guys that, you forget he was Batman because he did so many other great roles. You forget he was John Connor. And you know what? Terminator Salvation, at least they tried to do something new rather than just rehash the old time travel, where are we now in the timeline. At least they tried to do a story set during the war in the future. Anyway, this is the movie where Christian Bale is famous for going on a huge rant where he's about to do a take of something, and someone's moving a light, and he's like, "What are you doing back there?" It's like, "I'm moving a light." Well, la fucking da. He got a lot of shit for this, and I get it. But haven't we all lost our shit at one point at work? Yeah, he shouldn't be yelling at someone like that, but I get that he was about to do a take, maybe it's a long day. You'd have not seen stress until you've been late on a shoot, and I've only done really crappy shoots. And at the end of a shoot, everyone is so tired, everything runs overtime, everyone is stressed, you've got time constraints, especially if you're working with natural light. There's no excuse to talk to someone like this, but I get tempers are high. It's a very high stress environment. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be cancelled there. Javier Hakeem thinks you should yell at people that are working for you. No, I don't. I'm sure he did apologize, didn't he, profusely. Anyway, let's have a look at the top 5 movies of 2009. At number 5 is 2012. Dear God, this is why we still have bad movies. When studios know, even when they know it's a pile of crap. 2012 was that disaster movie. And the hook was the Mayans predicted the end of the world. I'm sure this whole Mayan calendar thing has just been debunked. Anyway, clearly, because the world didn't end in 2012. But the reasoning why the Mayans thought that their calendar ran out in 2012. Anyway, studios know it's a piece of crap, but they can keep pumping it out because numbers like this come in to make it to number 5 of this year. John Cusack, who starred in this movie, I hope you got paid well. I think you did all your best work before this film. It really was the end of the world for some, meaning careers. Number 4, this year. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. This is the last live-action Transformers movie I watched. It was just crap. There is no heart in this movie. It's a 2.5-hour ad. It was... And people know it as well, because it was the last highest opening weekend for a Transformers movie at the domestic box office. Last highest domestic opening weekend and total domestic box office. So after that, the numbers went down. But not worldwide, which is interesting, just in the US. So maybe the rest of the world were like, we like ads. In America, it's just like, we are ads. We're sick of them. At number 3, Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. These movies just printed money once upon a time. And I reckon the cast, like John Leguizamo, Ray Romano, and Dennis Leary, like, they're not A-listers by anyone's stretch of the imagination, but these guys must love it every time the phone rings, they get a call, they're making another. And they're like, yeah, sure, I'll clear my schedule. And number 2 was Harry Potter and the Half-Cut Prince. And at number 1, Avatar. Avatar was special because it was one of those movies everyone seemed to watch. Like, it promised to be like a cinema experience like never before. Like the scale, the CGI, the capture technology. It was directed by James Cameron, who did Terminator 2, Aliens, True Lies. It's going to be in 3D. It was going to be, whoa, holy shit, there's not going to be another movie like this ever. And it was good. It's good. It's very enjoyable. But I don't know anyone that's a huge fan of Avatar. Like, fans like for other franchises, like, there are crazy Doctor Who fans and Twilight fans, like even like middle of the road franchises, like Twilight or Wicked or Star Trek. Ooh, shots fired. And I can't think of a good reason why. I mean, it's a good story. It's got an interesting alien world, cool future military stuff. It's got ponytail sex, cosplay ideas are plenty, and yet I don't know why. For the scale of this release, like everyone went to see it. Everyone, the cinemas were full. I don't know why there's not been like a cult of fans. And I've seen cults of fans for other things, and like they, even if you're not into it, they genuinely bubble up to your timeline on your socials. But I've never seen anyone be like, I am a huge Avatar fan, and like I'm going to an Avatar party with all the other Avatar fans. I've never seen it, and it was a good movie. I don't know, like it's good. I can't unobtainium, like Jesus Christ, the resource they're looking for on the planet is unobtainium. James Cameron, you are better than this. Like, I know you're trying to send a message. That's a little on the nose. I wonder if they came up with a better name, and like surely he's got final say on everything, and apparently he's a bit of a dictator on his movie sets to get his movies the way he wants them. There is no way he didn't hear the name unobtainium and go, what am I trying to say? Oh, God, I've missed it. There was no way that there was a better name for that. Oh, what am I saying? Oh, God, I've ruined this. What I'm trying to say is I reckon there was a better name, and James Cameron said, no, we're going with unobtainium because they need people to realise what it is. We got there. There was a long walk. I mean, an uninspired top 5 of movies that year, if you ask me, but like, it's popcorn crap, a lot of it. Avatar as well, like, not popcorn crap, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. It was a good movie. I don't think it had a huge impact on me as I thought, as James Cameron wanted. Maybe it was the unobtainium. There were so many better movies that came out this year. Things like 500 Days of Summer, Zombieland, Drag Me to Hell, Fantastic Mr. Fox, District 9, which blew me away. District 9... What? Neil Blomkamp, I am begging you for a sequel. This alien movie, which does not read like an alien movie I've ever seen. Like, what if aliens came to Earth and they were refugees? Is the premise of it. And what if they didn't land in New York for once? What if they landed in South Africa? And it's this movie here, and it's got this build, and by the end of... Talk about a climax of a movie. I don't want to ruin it if you've not seen it. If you've not seen District 9, oh my God, what a breath of fresh air. Go check it out. Like, District 9 was amazing. However, the movie of the year for me in 2009 is Inglourious Bastards. This is Tarantino at his finest. I mean, an alternate timeline set in World War II where Hitler is murdered by an elite squad of Jewish soldiers, having European actors speak entire scenes in their native European languages? Yes, please. This movie is a masterclass in building tension in a scene. I went to go watch it at the cinema while I was touring a kids' show around New Zealand. I went on my own, not really knowing much about it. And in the first scene with the farmer and Colonel Lander, I almost passed out because it was so tense. I think I'd forgotten to breathe. I suddenly remembered, like, oh, geez, yeah, got to breathe. The same with the basement scene. Oh, man, the basement scene with Michael Fassbender and everyone in there. There have been entire video essays dedicated to this one scene. It's so good. Slow build, tension all the way. You know, things that are planted subtly at the start come out. The dialogue is so layered. You know, like the tense moments. Anyway, the breakout star in this movie is the villain. Christoph Waltz he's smooth, he's charming, he's hilarious, and he's terrifying as Nazi Colonel Hans Lander. And he does it in 4 languages. He speaks English, French, German, and Italian in this movie. You think you see any other actors do that? You think you can see The Rock come out and do something in Spanglish even? This is Europeans for you. Like, you know, Europeans never tell you. Why? Like, I was about to say, like, Americans and, English speakers of English and Australians, Canadian, they will, if they speak another language, they will tell you at some point in the conversations. They'll go, oh, I speak French or I speak Spanish, right? Europeans just speak it. No European ever goes, oh yeah, I speak German and French, and like they'll just do it. They just do it. You find out when they do it, right? You'll be in Portugal and they start talking in Portuguese. You're like, I didn't know you spoke Portuguese, and they're, oh, just a little bit, and then they'll order a whole meal. Apparently, Quentin Tarantino had written the script for this years ago, but thought that the part of Colonel Hans Lander was, quote, uncastable until Christoph Waltz waltzed into his life. And what a breakout movie for this guy. Steals the show completely. However, the bit where Brad Pitt is pretending to be Italian to go undercover, and he goes, Buongiorno. I almost wet myself laughing at that point. It's very good. Times Person of the Year. My favourite section of this podcast. Times Person of the Year in 2009 is Ben Bernanke, who was the chairman of the Federal Reserve during the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. Why did I include this? I don't care. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it again. Or am I? I don't know. Personally, what's going on for me in 2009? I mean, the previous year I had started learning how to do some card tricks. I wanted to learn how to do a little bit of close-up card magic. I had borrowed a DVD of Jeff McBride from Dan, my friend, and started learning how to do card flourishes. It started with doing some flourishes because this DVD was showing you how to do fans and cuts. So they weren't tricks. And I've got to hand it to my flatmate at the time, John, when I was still living at the chateau. Maybe it was before that. Maybe, yeah, just before I moved in with Annie. I started learning these card tricks, and because I thought, yeah, this is another way I can earn money. I'm going to learn a little bit of magic, and I can do weddings and birthdays or whatever. And so I practiced for one day really, really hard, and my flatmate John saw me do it. And the next day, he saw me just like watching TV with the cards like on the shelf somewhere, and he said, oh, is the fad over that quickly? And I was like, I'll show you, motherfucker. And I practiced so much harder. The reason I got good at cards is because of John, and purely out of spite. So thank you, John. So I kept going. I learned some tricks. I found I got a bar. I found a bar in Christchurch that would let me do close-up magic on Wednesday nights for their customers to practice, right? What I found is magic makes me so nervous. I hate doing close-up magic. I would get so nervous. I'd have to build up the courage to go ask someone like, hey, would you like to see a trick? Some magic? And they go, yeah. And like, the whole pick a card, and then doing this, like, my palms would be sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, all of that. But in a way that I used to get nervous with performing, But this was kind of on a different level of the spectrum of nerves. Like, I was so nervous doing some performances and stand-up before, but this was a totally different nervous of like, I was like, what if they catch me? What if I just crap? What if they're just underwhelmed? And I was okay at it. Like, some reactions were like really, really good. Some reactions were okay. Sometimes I was good. Sometimes I was crap. But I got the practice there to do it. But I never, ever got a joy out of doing close-up magic. Like, I know a lot of magicians, and if you ask them for a trick, they've got 5 ready to go at the drop of a hat, and they will love doing it for you. Most of them are the ones I know. I loathed when someone would be like, "Hey, Harv, do you want to do a trick for my friend?" I would be like, "No, I don't want to. It makes me so nervous." Anyway, also that year in 2009, I went to Melbourne and stayed in a friend's flat. They had 10 people living in it. It was quite a big flat. Like, it was about 4 stories. And if you know Melbourne, it was pretty much the corner of Queensberry and Lygon Street. And I played anywhere they had a gig. Open mic, open spot. I worked my way up a little bit. I was there for about a month and a half, or 2 months. Anyway, the biggest clubs I played were the Comics Lounge, which is a fantastic club. Go there if you're in Melbourne. And the Athenaeum. And I was really happy to get on those clubs. I thought what I'd do is during the day, so I'd do as much comedy as I could at night. And during the day, I would go and do some magic in the city centre, do some street magic to earn some coin. I found out very quickly that you need a permit to busk. But I also found out you don't need a permit to busk on private property. And you just need permission from the management. So I found this mall, which is kind of like a through mall in the city. And I found a place which looked like the street, but it was technically the mall. And so I needed permission from the manager's office. So I went up there and asked to speak to the manager. And the manager's out. "What's this about?" "Oh, I want to do some card tricks on your mall floor." "Oh, they're out. Come back later. Come back tomorrow." "They're out again. Come back tomorrow." "They're out again." After about 4 days, they go, "What's this about?" And I was like, "I just like permission to be able to do some card tricks in this part of the mall." And they're, "If you go away and stop coming here, yes, you can do that." So I did that. So I'd earn, how much would I earn a day? I don't know. 60 Australian dollars to 60, 80, 100, I think was my best on a busy day. Doing some street magic. Just earn enough to like get some money and some drinking money. And I did have some police. Oh, God. I had some police come up and go, "Mate, where's your permit? Where's your busking permit?" And I have never been so self-righteous like, "Oh, I actually don't need a permit because I've got permission from the mall. This is private property." And they... Ooh, I felt like such a dick, but also like, I think you'll find I'm right. I was insufferable. And that's what I did for about 2 months. I did comedy at night and card tricks during the day. And so I would be fueling both things. The other big thing that happened in 2009 was I got my hopes up a lot because there was this thing called the Billy T Awards in New Zealand. It's for breakout new comedians. Right, new comedians get this award, and if you get this award or even get nominated for it, you will get a lot of exposure in New Zealand. It's a really, really good leg up into the industry in New Zealand comedy. And they have the auditions in Auckland, so I flew after I'd been in Melbourne, doing so much comedy as much as I could and honing myself. I went up to Auckland to the auditions, and the auditions were a 2-part process. You had to pitch the show that you were going to do to a panel, right? That you're going to do, and so you had to do a show in the following year's New Zealand Comedy Festival, and you go pitch a show, and I pitched my show, and it was like, it was going to be called The Truth About Us, and it was just going to be an hour of stand-up, and my pitch was really weak, I remember that, but the other part of it is you do an audition at the Classic Comedy Club that night. The Classic is the big one in Auckland, the main one, the famous one in New Zealand, and I smashed this audition. I went out there, I couldn't have asked for a better 8 minutes. The reception I got, I was feeling so happy with it. I remember they had some people interviewing afterwards, and some people were going, "Oh, I like the guy from Christchurch." I was the only one from Christchurch up there. I thought I was going to get nominated, and so much, and other people did too, because the next morning in my hotel, I got a call from Steve Wrigley, who was quite a big deal in the New Zealand comedy scene at that time, and he was like, "Hey, congratulations on your nomination. Just wanted to call and say great job last night." And I didn't get nominated. And I told him on the phone, because I'd found out I hadn't been nominated because I'd seen the other nominees and I wasn't on it. And he went, how could you not be nominated? And I was like, I don't know. And I got it because I'd got a call from the judges as well. And they'd said, look, your audition in front of the crowd was strong, but your pitch was very weak. So we're going with other people. And I was crushed. I'd gone up to Auckland to do this. And I kind of thought, I live in Christchurch. I'd come up to Auckland hoping to get this. And if I got nominated, I was considering moving to Auckland maybe to try to do this comedy thing. And now that wasn't going to happen. And I was really crushed. Especially when, I felt like I'd done really well and I didn't think Anyway. So I thought, shit. Well, I'm not going to do that show in the New Zealand Comedy Fest anymore next year. What I'll do instead is, so I moped for a bit. But then after that, I decided, you know what? I'm going to work on this little idea I've got for an act with cards, and it's called Card Ninja. And I'm going to start working on that. And that, I am so happy that I didn't get nominated for the Billy Tees in retrospect. But more about that next time. I'm going to leave that there. Team, thank you so much for listening. I really enjoyed this, as I do every week. Thank you so much for those who listen. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm burnt out. You know what, I do these all in one take. Don't stop. No editing. And you can tell. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.